James Mitchell thought he had found his sanctuary in Oakridge Estates, a pristine gated community in suburban Atlanta. After 20 years as a military police officer, he craved peace. No orders, no chaos, just a quiet life in his dream home. For a few months, it was perfect. He jogged through streets lined with manicured lawns and towering oaks, grilled on his patio, and savored the freedom he had fought for. But then, Cynthia Reynolds, the HOA president, set her sights on him, determined to drive him out with relentless fines, harassment, and a lawsuit demanding he sell his house. She ruled the neighborhood like a tyrant, using fear and manipulation to maintain control, until she targeted the wrong man. With a fierce investigation, a legal counterattack, and a scandal that shook the community, James turned the tables in a way no one expected. Wait until you hear how this power struggle ended, and why Cynthia never saw justice coming. James had dealt with power-hungry bureaucrats his entire career. He had faced bullies in uniform, control freaks who thrived on making others miserable. Oakridge Estates was supposed to be his escape. The first sign of trouble came one afternoon as he cleaned his garage. The sharp click of heels on his driveway made him turn. A woman in her late 40s approached, blonde, impeccably dressed in a white blouse, pearl necklace, and clutching a clipboard. Her smile was too wide, too calculated. "Mr. Mitchell?" she asked, tilting her head. "I'm Cynthia Reynolds, president of the Oakridge Estates HOA. We keep our community orderly and uniform." James wiped his hands on his jeans. "Nice to meet you, Cynthia. What's up?" Her eyes flicked to his fence, new dark brown, sturdy. "Your fence. It's not an HOA-approved color. Fences must be beige or white. You'll need to repaint it within a week, or we'll issue a fine." James exhaled, suppressing irritation. Beige? He had enforced laws that protected lives, and now this woman was lecturing him about fence colors? "Fine," he said. "I'll handle it." Cynthia's smile tightened, as if she'd won a silent battle. "Wonderful. Enjoy the neighborhood." She turned and walked away, but James felt a knot in his gut. Something about her was off. At first, he chalked it up to strict HOA rules. Then the notices piled up. A yellow slip on his windshield cited unauthorized street parking, though his car was parked in front of his house, like many others. Cynthia watched from her porch. "No overnight street parking, Mr. Mitchell," she called, her voice dripping with condescension. James clenched his jaw but moved his car. Then came fines for a Christmas wreath on his door, a black trash bin instead of the approved blue, and grass exceeding acceptable length days after he mowed. Each time, Cynthia issued the complaint. Each time, only James was targeted. He tried to stay calm, but one evening, while unloading groceries, he overheard Cynthia talking to neighbors. "He doesn't fit here," she said, her voice low. "This neighborhood has standards. We can't let it become something else." The words hit like a punch. This wasn't about rules, it was about him. Cynthia was trying to force him out, and she thought she could get away with it. The breaking point came with a thick envelope from the HOA. James's stomach twisted as he read, Oakridge Estates HOA v. James Mitchell. Cause: repeated violation of community standards. Resolution sought: eviction and forced sale of property. His breath steadied, but a cold resolve settled in. Cynthia had declared war, and she had no idea who she was up against. The next morning, James found Cynthia sipping tea on her porch. "I see you got our notice," she said, smirking. "This neighborhood has standards. You're lowering our property values." James gripped the papers. "You want me gone?" Cynthia's smile didn't waver. "Let's be honest, Mr. Mitchell. You don't belong here." That was it. James knocked on her door later, holding the lawsuit. "You think fines and a lawsuit will scare me? I've dealt with people like you my whole life." Cynthia's mask slipped for a moment. "This isn't a fight. You're a problem, and I solve problems. James laughed, low and humorless. You just picked the wrong one. He had tried to play nice, but Cynthia mistook patience for weakness. James did what he was trained to do. He gathered intelligence. He dug into HOA records, finding cracks in Cynthia's empire. The no overnight parking rule was enforced only against him. HOA fees had risen for 2 years with no new projects. Where was the money? Many of Cynthia's fines weren't in the rulebook. She was inventing violations, banking on residents' fear. James hired a fierce attorney who specialized in dismantling corrupt HOAs. Together, they compiled evidence: fake fines, missing funds, legal oversteps. Then James went to his neighbors, elderly residents, single parents, newcomers, all targeted by Cynthia's tyranny. They were scared but angry. James rallied them, launching a petition to dissolve the HOA board. Signatures poured in. He didn't stop there. James contacted local journalists, handing over proof of Cynthia's corruption. Headlines erupted: HOA president accused of fraud. And where did Oakridge's money go? Cynthia's smug facade crumbled. She denied everything, calling it a misunderstanding. But then a bombshell dropped. A journalist traced thousands of HOA dollars to Cynthia's account. Her allies, neighbors who once enforced her rules, abandoned her. She wasn't just a tyrant now, she was a liability. The courtroom was silent, heavy with defeat. Cynthia sat at the defendant's table, her polished bob disheveled, her hands trembling. James sat calmly, his attorney beside him. The judge spoke. After reviewing evidence, including financial records and witness testimonies, this court finds the Oakridge Estates HOA guilty of fraudulent misconduct. The HOA board is dissolved, all wrongful fines must be reimbursed, and Ms. Reynolds is permanently barred from her position. Cynthia gasped, her nails digging into the table. The judge continued. Due to evidence of embezzlement, a separate investigation into Ms. Reynolds's finances will begin immediately. Fraud charges may follow. Cynthia paled, her world collapsing. The judge turned to James. All fines and actions against Mr. Mitchell are annulled. He is free to remain in his home. It was over. James stood, adjusting his jacket, and glanced at Cynthia. She stared at the table, broken. He didn't gloat, he didn't need to. She wasn't worth his energy. Outside, the Georgia sun warmed his face. He inhaled deeply, listening to the sounds of his neighborhood, his home. James smiled. He was done playing by their rules. This story of power, betrayal, and justice leaves us with questions. Was James's relentless counterattack justified, or did he go too far? What about Cynthia? Did her actions stem from prejudice, greed, or both? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's debate. Where do you stand on fighting back against tyranny in your community? Hit that like button, subscribe for more gripping stories, and let us know what you think about standing up to bullies like Cynthia. Your voice matters.